YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV, another game of Interplanetary I Spy going on here, and we are looking at an Opportunity Rover image taken years back. In fact, this was brought to my attention by a very good researcher called Vladimir Vladimirov, who posted this on my Mars magazine page a couple of days ago, and I thought I'd check it out because he's actually a really good researcher, this guy. He doesn't strike gold every time, but none of us do. And he has found one or two other very interesting things that I've done versions of recently as well, which are really tantalising. Basically, he's found an object that looks a bit like it looks like a car. What else can I say? You've got the raw image behind here. You've got it circled in the background there, and unfortunately, the image quality is pretty poor. And he's enlarged it here, but you can see that the distortion in the image is very, very poor indeed. These images aren't even 1 megapixel. They're sort of about 0.6 of a megapixel or something like that. This is the pan cam on the Opportunity. Now, the Opportunity Rover was built a very long time ago, and a lot of people have said, oh, these images are so crap and stuff like that. I understand that. I'm just as frustrated as you are when it comes to image quality with some of these rover images. But it was built about 15 or 16 years ago, and it's been on Mars for over 14 years, over 5,000 days now, you know, and it was never even expected to last more than about 6 months or a year. Luckily, the solar panels on the Opportunity have been cleaned a number of times since it's been up there. Probably by the whirlwinds you get, you get these sort of tornadoes dashing around on the surface, which may be sort of electrically charged partially, you know, from the static, and they may well come along and sort of suckle the dust off the top of the rover, but it may even rain occasionally, so it may be rain that clean it off. But anyway, let's stick to the plan here. I'm digressing again. It does look like a car. Now, you've got to get over the fact that this image is poor quality, but what I've done is I've done some enhancements and I've cleaned up the image quite a lot. But looking at his clip here, look at the shape of this. That curve, it's got these curves. You've got what looks like a tyre or wheel there, another one here. You've got the front of the car here. You've even got what look like lights, or what could be construed as lights, on a bumper. And if you look really carefully, just here, there's a rectangle which looks like a number plate. Now, when you see my enhancements, you'll see this a bit clearer, but I'm not going to promise you too much, because this is not only is this poor quality, but it's quite a small car. If it is a car. Now, I know I'm going to get verbally crucified on YouTube for this. I always do for almost all my videos. I get trolled heavily. Either people are saying that we've never left Earth and that the Earth is flat anyway, or they're saying it's Devon Island in the Arctic. Now, if it was the Arctic, then on Devon Island, then half the images that have been taken so far would be in complete darkness, because right up in the Arctic Circle there, they don't have daylight for about half the year. So that argument is absolutely ridiculous. I know it does look similar to Earth, and things have been found on Mars that look like they might come from Devon Island, like certain types of rodent and that kind of thing. And I know they used to test some of the rovers there, but that doesn't mean that the rovers are there. You know, we test all sorts of things everywhere. Doesn't mean anything. But yeah, there have been other cars and what look like vehicles found on Mars recently and in the past. But I'll get to the folder now quickly before I show you them, because I don't want to take all day with this. Right, let me show you the raw image first. This is the better one, I thought, this one here, because it's got slightly better shadows on it. It's a bit darker, but the shadows actually show a bit more, okay? But when you zoom in, you've got all this compression noise in the image. You can see it really up here. This is where the JPEG has been downsized and degraded. Now, why they felt they had to do that with such a low sized image in the first place, if you look at the actual size of the image here, it's what, 202 kilobytes. That's really small for a photograph. Really small indeed. Most modern camera phones are around sort of 12 or 16 or even 20. But luckily, the new 2020 rover will have a 20 meg camera on it. So I'm really looking forward to that. But something tells me that they will downsize the images in such a way as to destroy much of the detail, and they may not even focus the lens on it. They will get up to their usual tricks and make the images look foggy, fuzzy, and somehow degrade them enough so you can't see any real detail. But anyway, enough about that. I'm always moaning about the camera on the rover. I mean, this was built a very long time ago, and it's been there a very long time, so we shouldn't expect miracles from it, really. But there is no need to downgrade them. So let's look at the raw clip. You can see that image distortion here. You've got lines going up through this way, vertically and horizontally. And unfortunately, they go right through this, especially here. You can see that there. But even without doing anything to this, it does look like a car. Now, is it a rock that's shaped like a car? Or is it a car that looks a bit like a rock? Because it's one or the other. And in fact, without doing anything to this, all I've done is enlarge it. You can see this shape looks like a roof. And this looks like the front of the car. Quite curved, quite old-fashioned shape, I would say. Very curvy. Comes down here, you've got like a wheel arch here, possible wheel sticking out there. Another one here. Now, of course, this is a low-res image, and you've really got to let your eyes adjust to it. So just try and focus on it. Squint a little bit, it helps. And you have here what looks like a wheel with thick tread on it, just there, see? See these lines going across? Right. Now I put a colour filter on it, because that helps this stand out. So if you're on a small mobile device, this will look brighter to you and you'll be able to see it better. And what I did is I very carefully drew around it with a selection tool, which wasn't that hard. And then I brightened it right up, and then I used a colour filter over the image just to give it some contrast, colour contrast, just so you can see it. And what I did, I blurred it a bit as well, just to get rid of a lot of this distortion. It's still very distorted. You can see loads of distortion lines in here, and it's not great, but there's enough detail here for it to be interesting. You have a very reflective part on top here. Now, if this is a car, which it may not be, it just may be an object that's shaped like a car, but it's got some very tantalising details. Really interesting, and there's something very odd just in front of it here, which may be interesting. I may sharpen this up. There seems to be an object here that comes up, and it's got kind of a panel just here. I don't know if you can see that. I will do some enhancements on that as well, and then stick them in at the end for you, okay? But yeah, look at it. If you zoom in too far, it doesn't get any better. It looks best from about there. If you're going full screen, right there, you've got what looks like a wheel sticking out with big tread, like an off-roader, like an off-road vehicle, 4x4 or whatever. It's got like a bumper here. You can see like a bumper kind of shape. You can see where lights may have been there, and it's crazy. You've even got what looks like part of a window there, and a sort of maybe a handle or something, like a little panel or something on the side there. Now, if this is a car, which it may not be, of course, how old is it? I mean, it almost looks like it's been crumpled here, or if this is a car, if this is glass, I mean, who knows? It looks like it's got a bit of damage here, or perhaps like a hatch or a broken screen or something. Is that a broken screen? It kind of looks darker here. I mean, I don't know. But just look at it carefully and try and throw away a lot of the nonsense we've been told about Mars. And we've never. One thing you must bear in mind: we've never been told that there isn't any life on Mars. No one's ever said that. No one at NASA has ever said that. What they do keep saying, though, is we're looking for microbial life. But just because they're looking for microbial life doesn't mean there isn't or wasn't life there before. And they've never actually ruled that out. At least some of the high-up people in NASA have never ruled it out. Let's have a look at it in black and white. That's the second enhancement. Now this one is just a basic clean-up. There's hardly anything done to this at all. All I've done is cleaned up the image slightly, and I think added a bit of contrast or brightness. So you can see I really haven't done anything to this, hardly. You can see that, what looks like a number plate there, that rectangular structure, just there. You've got these sort of, what look like lamps or lights here. This kind of bumper-like thing. A wheel with tread, and you can almost make out here, under here, another wheel, quite a chunky. Is that sticking out? That wheel? Is that wheel sticking out? There's a bright spot just there. That may be the top of it. So, and also this at the back, it's a bit distorted at the back here. There's something weird going on here with these rocks and things here, and there's a lot of interference just there. But this looks to be sticking out as well. I didn't actually go around that very well when I drew around it to brighten it. But that seems to be sticking out, so that could be a wheel or tyre sticking out. But that tread did it for me. Now I didn't notice that until I cleaned up the image and enhanced it and brightened it up. That does it for me. That really does do it for me. I've been sort of glancing at this image for a couple of days on my Mars magazine page, and I just thought, nah, I won't bother looking at that. But I thought, last night I thought, I'll give it a go. Let's download the image. He's got the links on the page here, and Vlad's done some great stuff before. He's found some really cool things before. I mean, he's just done a basic kind of draw round technique here, which is fine. That's cool. I've done it differently there. There's 4 versions of this image, and he's got all the links to them here. So there will be a link to this below. Vlad was the guy that found this, the Mars battle tank. Now this may also just be something that's shaped like one, but this is insane. I'll just play this part through very, very quickly for you. You can check this out. I'll put a link to this at the end of the video for you as well, so you can just click on that straight away and watch it. This is sitting on a ridge line. This is also an image taken by the Opportunity Rover. Look at it. It's even got a hatch on the top. A very rounded, sort of oval-shaped turret. A gun. And when it gets a bit closer, you'll see it's also got wheels and what looks like tracks. Like a tank. That's raw. Like, even in the raw image you can see these details. All I've done is brighten it. And when I really lighten it up there, you can see it's got a set of wheels. I don't know if you can see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 or 7 of them there. It's got some details on the side of the turret. It's got a hatch just there. It's got this little shadow with a bit sticking up. And the gun has even got a wider part here at where it meets the turret, like a mantlet just there with a shadow. It's very, very tantalising stuff, this. So check that out. There's a close-up. I mean, you don't get a lot of detail because this is really quite small and a fair distance away. But you can see wheels. Those are there. And it's even got like a box or kind of little tank on the back, which often tanks did. But this is really small. It's about 1/3 the size of our tanks. Very small. I would say like a T-34 or something. It's about 1/3 of the size of one of those. Now, so that's Vladimir. Check out his links under this video as well. This links to his pages and stuff, so check him out because he's a good researcher, and is finding some crazy stuff. Now, this is a video I did years back called the Mars Alien Car, vehicle related to Mars traffic light. Yeah, whatever. Maybe, maybe not. Right. But this is actually in a lake area. This was the bottom of a lake. So this has probably been kind of encrusted and fossilized, like covered in mud and dried out like a mud fossil. And this, even though this is an odd looking thing with another object sticking out here, try and ignore this on the left. Just concentrate on this part here and this, which looks like a hood of a car. Now it does zoom in quite a long way. There we are. In fact, this is a bit too close to see the detail, really. But you can see this looks like a piece of metal, and it's got like marks on it here. It's kind of bent over like a hood, and it seems to be like a window here and another. I mean, could it be an encrusted car and a wheel here at the back? But this was underwater probably. Now, I'm not saying this is a car either, but it looks like a car shape, so that's what I called it. What else can you do? But that's worth checking out. That's a really short video, that one. There we are, here's the enhancement. But this is also really small. It's only probably about a foot or two tall. There's also a video I did recently, convoy parts at Mars airfield. Now, this was also brought to my attention by Vladimirov. Now, other people have now come out and said after I made the video that these may be rover tracks. Now, I'm not disputing that. I couldn't say for sure either way. But they do seem to stick up off the ground far too much to be tracks. There are lots of tracks in this area, but I think a lot of these structures we're looking at in this one, some of them look like vehicles, some of them look like little buildings. Now, they may be a part of the optical illusion, but I'm not convinced all the way either way, really. I'm still at 50-50 on that. But that's worth checking out. That's going. It sort of almost went viral, that video. Convoy parts at Mars airfield. Now, I'm not saying it's really an airfield or a convoy, but that's what it looks like. But check it out. I mean, make your own mind up. They may well turn out to be tracks. The Opportunity Rover, when it leaves tracks, it makes little kind of miniature sandcastles in the dirt, so that the satellites can actually measure how far it's moved. And it's got like a kind of special tread on the wheels, so that it leaves marks every meter or every couple of feet or something. So they can measure how far it's been, and they can work out sizes of things. Okay, this gives them a size reference, and these are very evenly spaced, almost like tracks. So who knows? But I'm not convinced either way yet on that. I think more detail needs to be got from that really first. So there's his original post, Vladimir's post on my Mars Magazine page. Come and check it out. We often get some great stuff on here. I post a bunch of stories every day from all around the world, ancient alien kind of stuff, and Mars and moon stuff, that kind of thing. We don't really do UFOs. So if you're fed up with fake UFO stuff, come to this site, because we don't have fake UFO stuff on this site. We leave that to a lot of the other pages on Facebook, okay? Look at this wheel sticking out, if this is a wheel. Look at the tread here, how it sticks out. Okay. So yeah, look at the tread on this wheel. It's got that big off-road tread on it, okay? So there's some tantalising detail here. Now, I know a lot of people out there are going to crucify me for even publishing this video. But just look at the image. Ignore what you think you've been told by people at school or at college. Now, look at this image. Look at the shape of this. Look at that, look, really kind of curved shape there and here. Ignore the front part, because it doesn't look anything like the front of that. But this part is not dissimilar. Okay, it's an old school kind of shape for a motor. Right, let's go back to this. Now this is damaged, obviously. There's got a kind of big dent in it there. It could have been rolled over, it could have been blown over and rolled. Something could have landed on it, it could have been near an explosion, like there was probably on Mars, nuclear explosions. It could have rolled over, you know. Who knows? But look at the shape, it's got that curve. It's not straight, it's curved. They've got a nice curve there. Okay, it's very rounded. So there we have it. Look at the images, ignore what you've been told, or at least what you think you've been told, or led to believe by either NASA or your school teacher, or your science teacher, or whoever, you know. Look at the images. The evidence is all in the images. Don't be swayed by people who are trying to bully you to think otherwise. Think for yourself. Use your eyes. Look at the evidence in the images. And you will find there are lots of things like this on Mars. And in fact, my channel is absolutely ram-packed full of stuff like this on Mars. This is crazy. And I'm actually quite shocked by it because I looked at the image that Vlad put up and I thought, yeah, it's such a terrible image. The image quality is terrible. But I did manage to clean it up fairly well here. That detail there. Why would that be right where it's supposed to be? If this is just a rock, why would it have wheels exactly where they're supposed to be? Why would it have tread? Why would it have these curves? Why would it have this reflective effect, almost like there's glass still here on this thing? And you've got these angles in here. You've got what looks like a part of a window and a broken, or perhaps another window or opening here. You've got possible indents where lights would be on it. The only thing is, it's very small. It's only about a third of the size of a normal car. And I'll just show you something I've got up here. Now, bear in mind that the tank is also about only 1/3 size of a medium tank, like a T-34. This is also very small. This is only a couple of feet, maybe 1 or 2 feet. These are tiny. These structures here. A lot of these things are small. The pyramids are large. So this, when you look at it from this distance, it's quite a way off. I'd say not that far away. Don't know exactly. 30, 40 feet away on this ridge. And you've got this very straight, long line in the background. Is that a road? Yes. You see a lot of these long, straight kind of strips on Mars, near the Opportunity Rover, near Endeavour crater. I've often thought they might be roads or something. Is that possible? I think it is. And in fact, I did a video years ago at Malaga Car Museum. This has got loads of really, really cool classic cars in it. So you might want to check that out. I'll put a link to that at the end, actually. It's really cool. I went around with my digital camera and just filmed, well, just took loads and loads of photographs. And there's some amazing cars here, like Bond cars and that kind of thing. I mean, they're just amazing. And a beautiful curve, some of them. So check that out. There's some really cool stuff in here. But I also came across this image. Where is it? Yeah. This is called a micro car. Now, this is the sort of size we're looking at on Mars. And now this is starting to convince me even more that the Martians may have been that size. Because the tank and this thing and these things are all very small, okay? Not the same size as ours. I mean, this is a big old off-road vehicle here. Look at the size of it. I mean, some of these are huge, these cars, you know. What I find really interesting about the one on this thing on Mars, it's got this kind of old-fashioned shape. It's got that real curve to it, like an old sort of 1940s or 50s car. Okay, because when you got to the sort of the late 60s and early 70s, cars got very squarish and box, more of a sort of flat kind of shape. They weren't as rounded. They weren't as nice. I think the 70s cars look pretty awful. Whereas you've got the older cars like this, they've got this much more rounded kind of, more organic kind of shape, which I think is much nicer. And you got one here that. Now, I'm not an expert on cars, but some of you may actually be able to find a car that looks more like this. You know, if you do, please leave a link in the comment section below, because I'm not an expert on cars, but I do like cars, especially old classic cars. So let's go one more time back to there. I'll put clips of all these in a second, okay? This has gone on way too long already. I'm going to edit this down a bit. So there we have it. It's got that tantalising number plate kind of thing on there. It's got tread. It's got a lot of details here. And it's got that sort of curved look like an old-fashioned car has. The curves are pretty cool. But it looks damaged. So there we go. Is it a car? Is it a rock? It really does look like a car. I did pull this video up just to show you, if you haven't seen this yet, any of you guys out there. This is what I uploaded years ago as well, back in 2014. This is the Major General Charles Bolden Jr., the head of NASA. He actually says here that there may have been life on Mars in the past, and there may even be life there now. So now this was on the news. Now I was so shocked when I saw this, because he kind of winks and makes loads of body language. If you watch this and watch carefully for the wink he makes and the way he nods his head towards the camera and gestures, okay? Look at the body language, and this guy is telling us there was life on Mars. That's literally what he's doing. But he's doing it in a slightly coded way, because he doesn't want to get crucified by his military overlookers, probably. But I'll put a link to this at the end as well. So, but check it out. So, you know, the information is already there. We're already being given disclosure of sorts, but it's done discreetly, and it's done with sort of discreet kind of hints here and there. Okay, but check this out. I was so shocked when I saw this on the TV. I went on their website and I ripped it off the news site on the ITV news site or whatever it was, and posted it the same day, I think, later on the same day, because it did shock me. And he kind of gives a nod to some of us researchers in the UK as well. What I will do is I'll put some high quality clips of this on my Facebook page, okay? And you can download them if you like, and share them with your friends or whatever. Check it out, okay? So there will be some nice high quality image clips of this on my page here for you to download if you like. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you soon.